The asphalt breathes a heavy sigh, a sulfur yellow sky. Cold steel in my pocket, and a fire in my iris. They mistake the silence for a surrender to the static. While I build a blueprint from the logic of the frantic. My spirit is a mortar, my resolve is every brick. The pace is high energy, the air is getting thick. I don't look for luck, I just look for the open seams. A midnight marathon, chasing high voltage dreams. From the basement to the roof, the view is getting clear. I'm harvesting the lessons that were planted by the fear. Internal fire climbing higher through the smoke. The city tries to bind us, but the spirit never broke. Keep your eyes on the horizon, keep the engine in the grid. We rise above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. We rise above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. The pressure is a polish, it's a grind that never ends. I see the truth in strangers while they lying to their friends. I'm an architect of ambition, sketching maps in the dark. Every spark from the friction is a flame that leaves a mark. Success ain't a finish line, it's just a state of mind. Leaving all the heavy baggage of the yesterday behind. I'm focused on the craft, keep the vision crystal clear. Eliminating doubt until I'm deaf to every sneer. Yeah, it's a marathon of sprints, it's a rhythm in the heat. Writing chapters of the legend on the ledger of the street. Internal fire climbing higher through the smoke. The city tries to bind us, but the spirit never broke. Keep your eyes on the horizon, keep the engine in the grid. We rise above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. We rise above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. Listen close, the blueprint is in the quiet. Before the noise, before the climb, there's a silence. That's where you find it. That's where you find the strength.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you guys have been witnessing what really has been going on these past couple of days dealing with Stephenson here. We're going to cover this story this morning because it's tragic. Unfortunately, in the Black community, we have tragic stories almost every week as it pertains to our lives here, even though we've been here before the inception of the country. And I really want you guys to sit with this for a moment here as we kind of go through this, because a father calls 911 not because he's afraid of his son, because he loves his son, because his son had been beaten, he had a head injury, and he was in a mental health crisis. He was upstairs yelling for an ambulance. His father picked up the phone and did what most of us would do, right? Everything that society tells us to do. He called for help. And when the police showed up, they shot Stephenson King Jr. 3 times through the driver's side window of a car. He had no weapon, no gun, no knife, no threat confirmed by the department's own report. The Boston Police Department even stated that he posed no threat. And then Boston, the city, and as well as the department, the DA's office, locked the body camera footage in a box and said, trust us. Ongoing investigations are still occurring. And I'm here to say that we're not trusting you. Not today, not ever. That's why this platform really exists about the truth. Because here's what actually happened on March 11, 2026 in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Stephenson King Jr., 39 years of old, Black man, father's kid, community member. He's been suffering. He was beaten a few days before and had suffered a head injury. And his mental state was deteriorating very, very fast. His father, Stephenson King Sr., called 911 that morning because his son needed medical help. Not police help, medical help. He was at home. He was upstairs. He yelled down for an ambulance. But in America, when you call 911 for a Black man in crisis, you don't always get help. Sometimes you get Officer Nicholas O'Malley. And we all know where the O'Malley name derives from. Ireland, by the way. But nevertheless, O'Malley encountered Jr. He encountered King Jr. near what police say was a stolen vehicle. Now, according to O'Malley, he fired because he feared King would run over a fellow officer who was named Todd Ho. But here's where the receipts come in. Boston Police Department own internal report concluded, and I'm reading this directly, regardless of their perception, that the statement was factually not true. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this particular story. It states here that King Jr., 39, was shot and killed in a confrontation with police while trying to escape in a vehicle he allegedly stole on March 11th. The officer who shot him, Nicholas O'Malley, said he feared King Jr. would run over the other responding officer with the car. And O'Malley has been charged with manslaughter. Okay. Now, again, this has been reported by multiple sources that the own police department stated that the official statements of Officer O'Malley was not true. Officer O'Malley stated that he fired his weapon because he thought the officer Ho was going to be crushed by the suspect's vehicle, and that the footage revealed that such a belief was unreasonable. When they watched the body cam footage and the footage that was available, they stated that that was unreasonable. Like, they couldn't even believe that you would think that he would do that, given the tape, and that neither officer was in danger of being struck by the vehicle at the time of Officer O'Malley's discharge. An eyewitness stated that neither officer was in the path of the vehicle as it drove away. Again, no weapon was found on Stephenson. Not in the car, not on his person, nothing. He didn't even have weed. He didn't even have marijuana. Because you know how they always try to paint the picture black? Oh, well, you know, he might not have had a weapon, but he had weed. How did weed have you to shoot him as you thought the vehicle was going to crush and roll over your partners? How did you do that? See, they always have to dirty up the image. Now, fortunately, O'Malley, he's been charged with manslaughter. He pleaded not guilty, as they always do. And when he walked into that courthouse to enter his plea, he had an entire crowd, a packed room of fellow officers in uniform showing up to show solidarity. They want to support this murderer. Let me show you guys some of these courtroom photos so you get what I'm getting at here. They showed up in mass to support Officer O'Malley's killing of Stephenson King Jr. A black man was dead, his father was grieving, and the courtroom was full of blue. This is not a broken system, ladies and gentlemen. This is a system working exactly as it was designed. And please, all the white supremacists, all the bigots, all the racists, please leave all your hate comments below. Because once again, if this were happening in any other community, there would be total outrage. And there would be compensation. And there would be police laws change. But you know what? This doesn't really happen like that. We've seen many police tapes of people from other demographics garner weapons, no less, and still have 1 and 2 and 3 opportunities before they fire their weapons. This is what solidarity looks like when the badge is protected, not when the community is. You would think that these officers wouldn't show up for him because their so-called, I don't know, ethos is to protect and serve. It seems as though they protect themselves more so than they do the citizens of their cities and states. Because if we really talk about the footage, because there is body cam footage. The Suffolk County DA's office has it. Boston Police hasn't. And both of them, have refused to release it, citing that the ongoing investigations. This is the oldest move in the playbook. You remember this move from Breonna Taylor. You remember this from Botham Jean, eating ice cream in his own apartment when a cop walked in and shot him. And somehow they found relevant to investigation was that there was marijuana in his home. Not the officer's action, but his weed. And as my uncle used to say, everybody smoke weed, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. He doesn't mean every single person. Everybody drinks. But nevertheless, the footage is delayed. Not about protecting the investigation. It's about protecting the narrative. Because the moment the public sees what happened in that car with that man on that morning, the story of Officer O'Malley Toe starts to fall apart. And the department already told us it fell apart in their own report. They even reported on themselves like things just don't add up. And of course, no other than attorney Ben Crump. Oh yeah, he showed up. The ambulance chaser, no less. And look, we can debate Ben Crump's track record all day, but the family retained him. He has entered the case. The family's demanding transparency. Ebony King Gibson, Stephenson's sister, is speaking out. The father who made that 911 call is speaking out. And Boston is doing what Boston does, staying quiet and hoping the cycle moves on. Just another black man murdered by the police. Let's keep it moving. We are the people who make sure this doesn't just get wiped away.
Of law enforcement, his father is retired from law enforcement. He has other family members who are in law enforcement. They believe in justice. They believe in standing up for justice and the constitutional rights for all citizens. And they are going to talk with you at this press conference about who Stephenson King Jr. was. Stephenson struggled with mental health issues, and his mother died in 2009, and from that time to this time, you'll hear from his parents and his sisters about the challenges he had. And it's sad, Councilman Culpepper, that oftentimes when people in our community have mental health issues, they get redefined as criminal justice issues. And that's something.
And that's absolutely true. Not that I agree with everything that Ben Crump does or says, but that's absolutely true. Because I want to zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Boston. This is about what happens every time a black person in mental health crisis encounters law enforcement in America. We have been told for decades that we need more mental health resources in our communities, that we need crisis intervention training for officers, that we need co-responder programs where mental health professionals go alongside cops. None of this training is relevant if you automatically see the skin color of a person and automatically think, or automatically muscle memory think, that that person is a threat. Because you know what the data says. According to the Washington Post database and studies from Johns Hopkins, black people experiencing mental health crisis are significantly more likely to be shot by the police than white people in the same circumstances. And the question is why? Because the implicit bias training they've been promising since Rodney King, literally since 1991, has not closed the gap. Stephenson King's father did everything right. He called 911. He tried to get his son help. He worked within the system, the way they tell us to work within the system, and that the system sent a cop who shot his son 3 times. So what's the answer? Better training? We've tried that. More oversight? We've tried that. The answer is building something different, not begging for reform from people who benefit from the current design. You don't negotiate with architecture, you rebuild it. Because as we was just looking at the news, this story ran all last week, asking why the killing of Stephenson King Jr. hasn't produced the large-scale protests we saw in 2020. And I want to address that. Not to shame the community by no means, but to diagnose what's changed. Some of it is protest fatigue. We have all these different types of fatigue. We got black people fatigue, white people fatigue, illegal immigration fatigue, Hispanic fatigue, Asian fatigue. We have all these different types of fatigue, H-1B visa fatigue, Donald Trump fatigue, the war with Iran and Israel and Lebanon fatigue. But after George Floyd, after Breonna Taylor, after all the marches, after the Kente Cloth ceremony by the Democrats, after the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act died in committee, people are exhausted. They march, they organize, they voted, and they watch politicians cash the check and deliver absolutely zilch, nada, nothing, zero. And some of it's very strategic evolution, no less. A growing number of Black Americans have started asking, is marching in the street the highest leverage move that we have? And I'm going to just tell you, no. No. The answer that we have arrived very long time is absolutely not. Absolutely no. Economic leverage, local political power, media ownership, legal pressure, those are the levers, not spectacles. But some of it, and I'll say this very plainly, is that Boston is being strategic about information control. And that's why the body cam footage is locked. The narrative is absolutely being managed. They are drip feeding information very, very slowly, enough that the emotional peak passes before the full picture emerges. That's not by accident, ladies and gentlemen. That's a playbook. And they've been running the same playbook for very long because it's always won. It's always been a winning playbook. Why change the playbook if we keep winning? That's like if you have your favorite sports team, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, whatever you like. Why change the playbook if we keep winning championships and Super Bowls? So again, we understand that the problem that a lot of Black Americans have in this country. Year after year, multitude of Black people are being killed, unarmed, being non-aggressive, hands up, by race soldiers with badges. And I'll state this, I'm not anti-police. Not all police are horrible police, but there's a large enough percentage of them that makes police look bad in general. See, when we talk about tangibles, people are just thinking that is just reparations. That's this form of a check. That's this free money from the government. Tangibles come in many different forms, and as pertains to police brutality or the brutality of certain police officers, demand the body cam footage right now, as they have been, but not through trusting the process. Call the Suffolk County DA's office, show up at the city council, make it possible for Boston to quietly archive this. Don't make it possible for that. Build the dash cam and cloud backup infrastructure. Because, you know, a lot of this dash cam, the camera or the footage was corrupted. Build the dash cam and cloud backup infrastructure. Every Black household with a car needs a front and interior camera that automatically uploads to a secure cloud server that we control. Because here's the thing, you guys, are y'all familiar with that Afro Man case? They broke inside of his house. They were destroying his property because they thought he had women in the basement. He didn't even have a basement. You don't have to be a fan of Afro Man, but he used some of that same footage of the police officers ripping through his home, breaking down his door, and found absolutely nothing, and used it in music videos because they had no obligation to pay him to repair the damage. So I made rap videos about it. Long story short, he got through with it. He's good. But the trauma, I'm pretty sure, is still there, even though at the time he wasn't even home. I have cameras in my homes. I have cameras around my home. Are they simply for the police? Absolutely not. They're for would-be characters that might seem to do me harm. You don't let the department control the only tape. We need to push for personal liability insurance for officers. I've been saying this for a very long time. Just as well as doctors have, malpractice insurance, so do police officers. And after a while, even bad doctors lose their license because no insurance company will insure them. because they keep having all these mishaps, whether it be doing surgery or prescription or whatever relieves doctors of their license, no less. And these insurance companies won't insure them. Police officers need that as well, because Colorado and New Mexico have already ended qualified immunity at the state level. Massachusetts has not. We really need to make that a ballot issue. See, as I was telling you guys, it don't matter the candidate, Republican, Democrat, Independent. What matters are their policies. Stop looking at, oh, well, I hate those Republicans, or I hate those Democrats, those liberals, those conservatives. Let's look at the policies. Who's going to make policies so another Stephenson King Jr. loses his life without repercussions? Because when police officers start paying the price out of their own pocket is when they start to think about firing the most deadly weapon on the streets and taking an innocent man's life and then lie about it. We've seen police plant drugs on black people. We've seen black people get killed on videotape, and some of them still get off or they get fired. Wait a minute, you kill someone and you get fired? Because when officers have to carry malpractice insurance the way that doctors do, and their premiums go up every time they shoot someone, watch how fast this culture changes. Because that's what America understands. We're a capitalist society, right? We understand money. And when your recklessness and not being a true peace officer causes you and your family harm because you can't afford the home that you live in, you can't afford groceries because you keep making these mistakes where you're killing people innocently. We absolutely have to know the case as well. Stephenson King Jr., his father called 911. He needed an ambulance. He got bullets. Do not let this be a paragraph in a future documentary. We need to make it a policy turning point right now. They want to know what's plaguing the black community. They want to say that these so-called YNs in Chicago and Baltimore are causing havoc on the communities and killing people, and it's not really affecting no other demographic of people than black people. But that's the racial tropes and stereotypes and some actual statistics that they bring in to try to justify why the police are on red alert every time they encounter a black person. And we know that to be false. If we're going to have changed some of the policies, some of the strategies, we have to really fight for. It's not just about money. It's not. But anyway, hopefully you guys truly understand what I'm getting at.
That's why you're fighting us straight. Internal fire climbing higher through the smoke. The city's trying to find us, but the spirit never broke. Keep your eyes above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. We rise above the concrete, yeah, we never gotta quit. For every dreamer in the maze, just keep walking. We out.